What if Jaime Fraser was never meant to escape death? Because his death was actually the beginning of the entire Outlander story. The final episode of Season 8 delivered one of the most emotional and shocking endings in television history. Fans watched Claire hold Jaime in her arms as his life slowly faded away after the Battle of King's Mountain, but the real twist came afterward. Because suddenly, the finale stopped feeling like a tragic ending and started feeling like something much bigger. Jaime appearing across different moments in time, Claire's mysterious white hair, the ghost connection from Season 1, and that final gasp at the end completely changed the meaning of their love story forever. Was Jaime truly dead? Did Claire actually bring him back to life? Or were we watching two soulmates finally reunite beyond time itself? The final episode answered questions that fans have waited years for, but at the same time, it created brand new mysteries that make the ending even more heartbreaking. And honestly, once you connect all the hidden clues together, you realize the story of Jaime and Claire was never just about romance. It was about fate, sacrifice, and a love powerful enough to rewrite time itself. The final episode of Outlander Season 8 opened with a feeling that something terrible was about to happen. Even before the battle began, there was already sadness hanging over every moment. The episode did an incredible job creating emotional tension because everything Jaime said and did felt different. He wasn't behaving like a warrior preparing for another fight. He was behaving like a man preparing to say goodbye forever. And the reason why this felt so powerful is because Jaime already knew his fate. Earlier in the story, Frank's writings revealed that Jaime Fraser was supposed to die during the Battle of King's Mountain. That information completely changed the atmosphere of the finale because from that point onward, every scene involving Jaime felt dangerous. Every smile looked emotional. Every conversation sounded final. The audience wasn't simply watching a battle episode anymore, they were watching a countdown toward Jaime's possible death. One of the smartest things about the finale was how it used quiet, emotional moments instead of rushing directly into action. Jaime spent much of the episode speaking to people he cared about, as though he wanted to leave behind memories that would survive after him. You could feel the weight in his words during every interaction. Even when he smiled at Claire, there was sadness underneath it because deep down, Jaime feared this could be the last time he ever saw her. The emotional heart of the episode was clearly the relationship between Jaime and Claire. Outlander has always been strongest when focusing on their connection, and the finale reminded audiences exactly why fans became so emotionally attached to them over the years. Their love story never felt simple because it survived impossible circumstances. War separated them. Time separated them. History itself constantly tried to tear them apart. Yet somehow, they always found their way back to one another. That is why this episode felt so painful. For the first time in a long time, it genuinely felt like they might not survive this together. The moment where Jaime asked Claire to remember him if he died instantly became one of the most heartbreaking scenes in the entire series. The line itself was simple, but the emotion behind it made it devastating. Jaime wasn't only preparing Claire for his death, he was trying to make peace with it himself. That scene carried years of emotional history behind it, and you could feel how badly Claire wanted to reject the possibility of losing him. Claire's reaction throughout the episode was incredibly important because it showed just how terrified she truly was. Normally, Claire is calm under pressure. She's survived battles, violence, and tragedy before, but this time felt different. This wasn't simply another dangerous situation. This was the possible end of the person she loved most in the world. The episode also did an amazing job reminding viewers about the importance of destiny in Outlander. The story has always revolved around time travel and fate, but the finale pushed those themes harder than ever before. Jaime wasn't just fighting in another war. He was fighting against history itself. And that created this terrifying question hanging over the entire episode. Can destiny ever truly be changed? Claire always believed history could not be rewritten. Throughout the series, she constantly warned others that some events were fixed no matter how badly people wanted to stop them. That belief made the finale even more emotional because this time, history was targeting Jaime himself. Claire knew what was supposed to happen at King's Mountain, and yet she still desperately hoped there was some way to save him. For a while, the episode actually made it seem possible. When the battle finally began, the chaos felt brutal and realistic. Gunfire echoed everywhere, soldiers screamed in panic, and death surrounded everyone. But instead of focusing entirely on the action itself, the episode stayed emotionally connected to Claire's fear. Every moment during the battle carried tension because audiences were waiting for the exact instant history would finally catch up with Jaime. Then, something unexpected happened. Jaime survived the battle. For a brief moment, there was overwhelming relief. Claire looked emotional because she truly believed the nightmare was over. Fans watching probably felt the same way. After spending the entire episode terrified about Jaime's fate, seeing him survive felt like victory. It felt like maybe love had finally defeated destiny. But Outlander intentionally used that relief against the audience, because the real tragedy came afterward. When Jaime approached Ferguson to accept his surrender, the atmosphere suddenly changed. The action slowed down, the music softened, and there was this uncomfortable tension hiding beneath the scene. Then, without warning, Ferguson pulled out a gun and shot Jaime directly in the chest. The moment was shocking because it happened after the battle itself was already over. Jaime survived the chaos of war only to be struck down during what should have been a peaceful moment. That made the scene even more heartbreaking because it felt cruel and unfair. Claire's reaction afterward completely shattered the audience emotionally. The panic on her face, the desperation in her voice, and the way she rushed toward Jaime made the scene feel painfully real. You could instantly see that Claire understood how serious the wound was. She wasn't reacting like someone expecting recovery. She was reacting like someone watching the love of her life disappear forever. And honestly, that is what made the sequence so devastating. The episode slowed everything down afterward and focused entirely on Jaime and Claire together. Suddenly, the war no longer mattered. Politics no longer mattered. Time travel no longer mattered. The only thing that existed was two people trying desperately not to lose each other. Claire refused to leave Jaime's side as he slowly faded away. She held on to him with complete desperation, almost as if refusing to let death take him. And according to the deeper mythology of Outlander, that decision became incredibly important, because Jaime's soul was now trapped between life and death. The finale hinted that Claire's refusal to let go prevented Jaime from fully passing on. Instead of immediately moving into death, he entered a strange state between worlds. And that is where the episode suddenly became much bigger than a tragic death scene. Because the story was no longer only about dying, it became about time itself. As Jaime hovered between life and death, the episode showed emotional flashes of Jaime and Claire's journey together throughout the series. Their happiest moments, their pain, their reunions, and their heartbreak all appeared like memories flowing through time. But these scenes were not only emotional fan service. They carried a deeper meaning. The montage was showing that Jaime and Claire's love existed beyond normal time. Their story had become eternal. And the truly heartbreaking part is that this was only the beginning of the finale's biggest revelation. After Jaime collapsed into Claire's arms, the finale completely shifted into something deeper, more emotional, and honestly far more mysterious than many fans expected. Up until that point, the episode felt like a tragic war story mixed with heartbreak. But once Jaime entered that strange state between life and death, Outlander suddenly returned to the supernatural mystery that has existed since the very beginning of the series. And this is where the finale started answering one of the oldest questions fans have had for years. How was Jaime's ghost standing outside Claire's window back in Season 1? That mystery has haunted the series from the very beginning. Fans always knew there had to be a larger explanation behind it, because Outlander never included details without purpose. For years, viewers debated whether the ghost represented fate, destiny, or some kind of unfinished connection between Jaime and Claire. And in the final episode, the writers finally revealed the truth in a way that completely transformed the meaning of the entire story. As Claire stayed beside Jaime's body, refusing to let him go, the episode showed Jaime standing separately, watching her from a distance. At first, the moment felt emotional and tragic because it looked like Jaime's spirit had already left his body. But then the episode began showing him moving through different moments in time itself, and suddenly, everything changed. Earlier in the episode, Jaime jokingly mentioned that being a ghost could actually be entertaining because he would like to visit people and watch over them. At the time, the line sounded emotional and sweet. But the finale later revealed that this dialogue was secretly foreshadowing the truth. Jaime really did become that ghost. And not only that, but he was moving through time itself while trapped between life and death. This is where the finale became incredibly clever because it connected directly back to the core theme of Outlander. Time in this story has never been simple or linear. Characters constantly move across different periods, changing lives and creating ripple effects throughout history. But Jaime's ghost existing outside normal time takes that idea even further. It suggests that love itself may exist beyond time completely. The montage that followed was one of the most emotional sequences in the entire series. Jaime appeared during moments connected to Claire even before she truly knew him. He watched her from afar. He observed moments that happened long before their love story officially began, and each appearance slowly revealed a heartbreaking truth. Jaime had always been connected to Claire, not just after she traveled through the stones, not just after they met. Always. One of the most important moments came when Jaime appeared near Craig na Dun before Claire ever traveled through the stones. The scene immediately connected back to an earlier conversation Claire once had about the beautiful blue flowers she discovered there before everything changed. At the time, the flowers seemed like a small detail, but the finale revealed they may have carried much greater meaning. Because Jaime was implied to be the reason those flowers were there. And if that is true, then the implications are absolutely massive. It means Jaime's ghost may have unknowingly guided Claire toward the stones in the very beginning. In other words, the entire Outlander story only happened because Jaime himself created the conditions that led Claire back to him. That revelation completely changes the emotional meaning of their relationship. Their love was not random. It was destiny. The finale strongly suggested that even death itself could not separate them because Jaime's spirit continued searching for Claire across time. And honestly, that idea makes their story even more heartbreaking. Jaime wasn't simply waiting for Claire after death. He was influencing time itself just to ensure they would eventually find one another again. This also explains why Jaime vanished so quickly in Season 1 when Frank looked toward him outside the window. The finale confirmed that Jaime existed there as a ghostly presence tied to Claire across time. The moment Frank noticed him, Jaime disappeared because he was never truly part of that timeline physically. He was only visiting it. And that detail is what makes the ending so emotional because it proves Jaime's love for Claire transcended everything. War could not stop it. Time could not stop it. Even death could not stop it. Another reason this reveal worked so well is because the finale trusted the audience emotionally instead of over-explaining everything. Outlander has always balanced romance with mystery, and the ending allowed viewers to interpret certain details themselves. The show never directly sat down and explained every rule about ghosts or purgatory. Instead, it gave emotional clues and trusted fans to connect them together. That approach made the finale feel poetic rather than mechanical. The episode also hinted that Jaime experienced time differently while trapped between worlds. Instead of moving forward normally, he seemed capable of drifting across different moments throughout history. That explains why he could appear during events connected to Claire even before they officially met. In this strange spiritual state, time itself no longer mattered. And honestly, that concept fits perfectly with Outlander as a whole. This has always been a story about impossible connections stretching across centuries. So the idea that Jaime's soul itself could travel through time feels strangely beautiful instead of confusing. But there is another emotional layer underneath all of this that makes the finale even sadder. Jaime may have spent hundreds of years waiting for Claire. Think about that for a moment. From Jaime's perspective, if he truly died during the battle and entered this ghostly existence, then he may have wandered through time for centuries until Claire finally joined him. The montage almost suggests that Jaime remained emotionally tied to her forever, revisiting memories and moments connected to her life while waiting for them to reunite. That idea makes every scene involving Jaime's ghost far more tragic. He wasn't haunting Claire out of fear or anger. He was searching for her. And when you look back at the entire series through that perspective, Outlander becomes even more emotional than before. Jaime and Claire were never simply lovers separated by time. They were two souls endlessly trying to return to each other, no matter what history placed between them. The finale also used silence incredibly well during these sequences. Instead of relying heavily on dialogue, many moments simply allowed the emotions to exist naturally. Jaime watching Claire from afar felt devastating precisely because so little needed to be said. Their connection was already strong enough that audiences understood the pain immediately. At the same time, the episode carefully planted another mystery. Claire's appearance was beginning to change. During the final moments beside Jaime, viewers noticed that Claire's hair had turned completely white. At first, it almost looked symbolic, like grief itself had physically aged her. But longtime fans immediately recognized that the transformation connected directly back to earlier seasons, because Claire's white hair represented power. And that realization completely changed the meaning of the ending yet again. The finale was quietly preparing audiences for one final twist that would decide whether Jaime truly remained dead or whether Claire was about to do the impossible. The moment Claire's hair turned completely white in the final episode, everything in Outlander suddenly felt different. It wasn't just a visual detail, it wasn't just a symbol of grief or aging. It was a signal that something deeper, something far more powerful, had been unlocked inside her. And the show made sure this moment didn't feel random. It was carefully built across multiple seasons, solely preparing viewers for what Claire was truly capable of. Because Claire was never just a woman caught in time, she was always something more. From the early seasons, Outlander hinted that Claire's connection to life, death, and healing was not ordinary. She survived impossible situations. She saved people others had already given up on. And over time, the show subtly suggested that her ability to heal was not just medical skill or instinct. It was something far beyond that, something almost supernatural. And in the finale, that idea finally reached its peak. When Claire stayed beside Jaime's body after the gunshot, refusing to let him go, the emotional intensity of the scene was already overwhelming. But what made it even more important was what happened around her. The world seemed to slow down, sound faded, and Claire entered a state of complete emotional and spiritual focus, as if everything inside her was aligning toward one single purpose: saving Jaime. At first, it looked like pure grief, a woman refusing to accept loss. But as the scene continued, it became clear that something else was happening. Claire was not simply mourning Jaime, she was fighting against death itself. And the more she refused to let him go, the more the story hinted that reality itself was beginning to respond to her will. This is where the white hair becomes extremely important. Because in earlier seasons, Claire was told that when her healing ability reached its peak, her body would begin to transform. Small signs had already appeared before. A streak of white in her hair during moments of intense emotional or healing power. But in the finale, that streak finally spread across her entire head, showing that whatever limit once existed inside her had been completely broken. She had reached her full potential. And that detail changes everything about the ending. Because it suggests Claire's power was never just about healing wounds, it was about restoring life itself. The show carefully built this idea without directly stating it too loudly. Instead, it allowed viewers to interpret the symbolism. Claire had previously brought back an infant from the edge of death. That moment already pushed the boundaries of what was medically or logically possible. But bringing back a fully grown man like Jaime is something entirely different. It requires not just skill, but control over life force itself. And the finale makes it feel like Claire finally understood that power completely. The emotional weight of Jaime's condition is what triggered it. Claire was not acting like someone who accepted death. She was acting like someone refusing to allow it to be final. And in Outlander, emotions are never just emotions. They are tied deeply to the mystical rules of the world. Time responds to intention. Fate reacts to connection. And love itself often becomes a force that bends reality. That is exactly what the finale suggests is happening here. Claire's love for Jaime was no longer just emotional. It became physical power. As Jaime hovered between life and death, the connection between them seemed to stretch beyond normal understanding.